Welcome to this explainer on the worry trap. Today, we're diving straight into something I know almost all of us battle on a daily basis. We're going to completely break down the actual fascinating science of why your brain overthinks, why it loves to trap you in these worst-case scenarios, and most importantly, we're giving you a highly practical, psychology-backed 7-step playbook to finally get some mental peace.
All right, check this wild statistic out right away, because this really sets the stage for us. Studies show that a massive 85% of the things you worry about, they will literally never happen, or they'll actually end up going way better than you expected. Just think about that for a second. Think about the sheer amount of mental energy we all burn on things that absolutely do not exist. So why on earth does our brain keep running this exhausting loop?
Well, to answer that, let's jump into part 1, the evolutionary worry trap. To understand why you feel like this, you really have to look back at your survival instincts. Thousands of years ago, your brain evolved to do basically one thing above all else: keep you alive. And it did that by constantly, relentlessly scanning the horizon for danger. The early humans who just chilled out and ignored potential threats, they didn't survive to pass on their genes. Because of that, your brain is actually hardwired to prioritize problems over peace. It's a feature, not a bug.
But here's the catch, right? In modern life, we aren't exactly running from predators anymore. So instead, your survival brain kind of misfires. It looks at everyday normal things, like an unread email from your boss, a looming exam, some awkward conversation you need to have, or even just a weird physical symptom, and it treats them as if they are literal, life-threatening emergencies. Your brain genuinely believes that by worrying intensely about these things, it's actively protecting you.
And there's this incredible study out of Penn State University that really hits the nail on the head here. They found that chronic worriers don't actually just fear bad outcomes. What they really can't stand is uncertainty. It's the not knowing that causes all that mental fatigue and decision paralysis. So the secret here isn't trying to control every future event, because you can't. It's just about training your brain to better handle uncertainty. Which brings us nicely to part 2, reality versus imagination, and the mental shifts you need to make. Step 1 in our playbook is all about separating what's real from what's entirely imaginary. Look, a real problem is something happening right this second that requires immediate action. A bill is due tomorrow. You missed a deadline. You get the idea. An imaginary problem, on the other hand, is a scenario your mind is just predicting out of thin air without any actual evidence. Stuff like, what if I fail this completely? Or, what if my entire future gets ruined? Psychologists actually have a term for this. It's called catastrophizing. It's when your brain just skips all logic and jumps straight to the absolute worst possible outcome, completely ignoring how incredibly low the probability of it actually happening is. Constantly worrying about these made-up scenarios without taking any action is literally like sitting in a parked car and slamming your foot on the gas. You are burning an incredible amount of fuel, making a ton of noise, but you're going absolutely nowhere. So I want you to pause and memorize this exact question. Next time that mental chaos hits, I want you to ask yourself, is this a problem I need to solve right now, or is this just a scenario my brain is inventing? Using this question is a real game changer because it instantly forces your brain to separate reality from imagination. If action is possible, you take it. If not, you call it what it is, an invention, and you stop feeding it. Let's move to step 2, abandoning the illusion of control. We all desperately try to control people's opinions, timing, outcomes, mostly because it makes us feel safe. But the irony is, the more you try to control uncertainty, the more anxious you actually become. You've got to start treating life a bit more like a weather forecast. You can absolutely grab an umbrella to prepare for the rain, but you definitely can't stop the rain from falling. True confidence grows from your adaptability, for sure, not from having absolute certainty. Moving right along to part 3. Mental overload, and how to physically calm your mind down. This is step 3, and it's all about actively reducing that mental overload. Think about it. Today, we consume more information in a single afternoon than past generations did in weeks. All that constant scrolling, the endless notifications, the doom scrolling through bad news, it actively spikes your stress hormone, cortisol. Your brain is just chronically overstimulated, which makes the worry voice so much louder. You absolutely have to give your brain silence and recovery time. Seriously, something as simple as a 20-minute walk with 0 headphones can do absolute wonders to reset your nervous system. All right, part 4, grounding and taking action to destroy anxiety.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how we handle fear. Most of us, we wait around until we feel totally confident before we take action. But psychology tells us that waiting actually keeps you paralyzed. Avoidance only breeds more fear. On the flip side, though, forward motion completely interrupts those mental spirals. Taking messy, imperfect action, that is exactly what builds confidence in the first place.
When you finally engage with reality, by sending that intimidating job application or just making that difficult phone call, you trigger this amazing thing called exposure adaptation. Basically, by facing the situation, your brain slowly learns, oh wait, this isn't an actual threat to my survival, and the fear just shrinks down in your mind. The more you avoid a thing, the scarier it gets, but the more you engage with it, the smaller it becomes.
Building on that, step 5 involves training your brain to stay anchored in the present. Anxiety pretty much exclusively lives in the future, just like regret lives in the past. To escape the worry trap, you can pull your attention back to reality right this second, using simple sensory grounding techniques. Focus on your physical reality. Notice exactly what you can hear in the room. Feel the pressure of your feet flat on the floor. Observe the rhythm of your breathing. This simple physical engagement acts like a circuit breaker for your brain's anxiety loop. Okay, part 5. Let's look at managing emotions and your daily lifestyle.
Step 6 is a big one. It's realizing that emotions are really just temporary body states, right? Anxiety increases your heart rate. Stress messes with your digestion. That is literally just normal biology doing its thing. But we often panic at the feeling itself, creating what psychologists call secondary anxiety. Basically, you become anxious about being anxious. It's exactly like thrashing around in quicksand. Fighting the feeling only pulls you deeper. Once you can just accept the feeling as, okay, this is uncomfortable, but it's temporary, your internal resistance drops, and I promise you, the feeling passes so much faster.
Step 7 is all about your foundation. You've got to build a life with less empty space for worry to grow. Have you ever noticed how you overthink the most late at night, or maybe during an idle weekend? An empty, directionless schedule just hands your brain free time to invent problems. But simple routines, they work wonders. Daily exercise acts like mild natural medication for your stress hormones, and getting proper, healthy sleep ensures that a minor, totally solvable problem doesn't feel like the end of the world at 2 a.m. Bringing it all home with part 6, peace without certainty.
So the ultimate takeaway from this whole explainer isn't about becoming some emotionless robot. We all worry, but the real secret is captured perfectly right here. Peace does not come from magically controlling the future. It comes from handling the present better. If you can learn to just survive discomfort, make a few mistakes, and accept imperfect outcomes today, I guarantee you, worrying completely loses its power over your tomorrow. So I'll leave you with this one thought to chew on. If certainty is just an illusion anyway, what incredible things could you accomplish right now if you finally stopped waiting for it?